So this is the second video series that I promised I'd bring you guys, and this is kind of outside the realm of physics, but it's going to ultimately make some of the physics that you're going to be doing a lot easier. And this has to do with workflow optimization. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to kind of introduce the overarching topics and software that I'm going to be going through in the series, and then start off with some just really basic hotkeys. But the idea here is that you can work faster and better when you learn to use the tools that you have available to you effectively. And that's what this video series is meant to help you think about and do. And I've learned quite a bit of things by trying all these different pieces of software and playing around with them. And I hope that I'll continue to learn from you guys. Occasionally you guys will know things that, or often actually, you guys know things that I don't. And I enjoy the process of learning as well. Okay, so basic overview after we get through extra stuff that I don't need right now. So these are tools for working efficiently. So you're familiar with basically all the things I'm going to go through really quickly, but you have your hardware, which is your phone, computer, and your keyboard, and then you have software. I'm going to go through a list of the software that I'm going to highlight in this series. So I work on Windows 10, Android, and occasionally Linux. Some of you might work on iOS and OS 10. Most of the information that I'm going to be providing is not specific to Windows, but you'll be seeing me using Windows as I'm doing it. A lot of the things that you can do in Windows, you're also going to be able to do in OS 10. It's just a little bit different. So all students and faculty have access to Office 365 through the university for free. And so that's going to be kind of a core theme for a lot of the things I'm going to be talking about. And some of these things we've seen already. We've gone through Teams. I've not really talked a lot about the kinds of things that you can do with Onenote. And I'm going to try to do more of that, and that'll make our classwork go a little bit easier once you know some of the things that you can do with OneNote and the things that you can do more effectively than I didn't even realize at first. You had to kind of play around with it. And then there's OneDrive. So OneDrive is a cloud storage service through Office 365 that all students have access to. I believe that you guys have a terabyte of cloud storage that you can use. Some of you have already seen me using OneDrive already for distributing material. It's really helpful because you can get files from your computer up there, and then you can pull it down on your phone. These things can all talk to each other. It's really a great tool once you learn how to use it. I'm going to be making a video almost exclusively dedicated to OneDrive. Then there's Outlook. So Outlook is your email, your calendar, your contacts. So I'm going to make a video about Outlook. Excel, you can do a lot of things in Excel. I'll have to think about how I'm going to make a video for that because there's a lot of things to cover in Excel. And if you guys have suggestions about things that you'd like me to teach you how to do, I'd be happy to do that. But Excel is very open-ended. Everybody knows how to use Word. There's a couple of things that are interesting that you can do with Word, like doing mail merge. So something you can do in Word is you can make a list of people that you want to send an email to, and then it will automatically fill names and information into Word. You guys will be seeing me using mail merging when I send out the mid-semester grades. I typically do that in a mail merge. And then there's PowerPoint. That's what I'm running everything on right now. You might like some of the things that I'm doing in PowerPoint. I can show you how to do some of those things if you like. Now, past that, you have a web browser. And there's a lot of things that you can do with the web browser you might not realize. I'm going to talk about some of those in future videos. ShareX. This one I actually learned from a student. And what ShareX is it's a way to screen cap. You can cap things and post them to your clipboard automatically. You can have them automatically uploaded to OneDrive. You can cap little sections of the screen. You can cap GIFs in little sections of the screen. And it's very customizable. It's a very, very powerful tool. What I was using before was not quite as effective as ShareX because you had to use an editor after you grabbed your screenshot. But this does a lot of that automatically. There's some customization that you need to do, but you'll find that a lot of times in our class, if you're asking me a question about homework, I'm going to ask you like for a screenshot, or if you're having a technical problem, ask for a screenshot, or just generally, screenshotting is something that you're going to be doing a lot professionally, and there are tools that you can bind to hotkeys on your keyboard to make this very, very seamless. SureX is a very powerful tool. And then there's other software and coding languages that I know that I probably won't talk about very much. But if you guys are interested in it, I can make those videos, but those are kind of beyond the scope of the things that we really need for our class. Those things are things like OBS, what I'm using to kind of control my monitors, and if I wanted to stream this, how I would do that. So if you're interested in streaming on YouTube or Twitch, I can teach you a little bit of the ins and outs of OBS. Adobe Creative, so that's your Photoshop, Premiere, After Effects. There's a little bit of After Effects in my PowerPoint slides. I can teach you guys some of that if you want. Atom and LaTeX, so when I'm writing the notes, when I'm writing the book, I'm not writing that in Word, I'm writing it in basically a text document that gets compiled to be able to display it the way that I want it to. That's all done with a language called LaTeX, and Atom is a very powerful text editor. So if you do coding, Atom is a very useful tool to have under your tool belt. Then after that, Mathematica. I haven't used Mathematica that much. Mathematica is a symbolic programming, symbolic computational engine, and you can program in it. You'll see some plots coming from me soon that are going to be from Mathematica. That's a really powerful tool as well. And then there's a whole host of coding languages: Visual Basic, Python, C++, HTML, JavaScript. All of these things are designed to do a very particular job. And when you're approaching a problem, you'd like to have the right tool for the job. Okay, so that's the overview of all of the things I'm going to talk about. This is going to be broken down into several videos. I should hopefully have a second one up tonight. So today's video is just going to be basic keyboard hotkeys. And the next video, I'm going to talk about web browser hotkeys, taming WebAssign in Blackboard. I'm sure you guys have been frustrated with how long it takes to kind of click through to get to where you need to go in Blackboard. I'm going to show you a way that you can streamline that process. And then finally, I'm going to talk about enabling and using the clipboard. So normally in Windows, when you're copying and pasting things, what happens is it stores just that one thing. When you enable the clipboard, it stacks all the things that you have, and you can open up the clipboard and you can pull something that you copied before. It allows you to copy a whole bunch of things and not just one at a time. Like I said, very, very powerful tool. We're going to talk about that in the next video. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on over to Onenote and just talk about some really basic hotkeys. Take my gum out when I'm talking. Some really basic hotkeys that will make things a lot faster for you. So some of you guys probably most of you guys know these already. If you have other hotkeys that you like to use, post about them in the PogChamp channel. Like I said, I like learning from you guys too. So if your favorite's not here, talk to me about it. We can talk about that, and maybe next semester when I do this again, I'll add some of your favorites. So the first one is copy. So normally what you would do if you had a mouse, if you wanted to copy this, you'd go like this. But what you can do is, I'm actually going to use a couple of these hotkeys at once. You can press Control-C once something is highlighted, and then you can do Control-V to paste it. Okay, so that's Control-C and Control-V. The next one is the cut. So Control-X, cuts. Again, I want to put that back. I can do a Control V to put that back. What if I want to undo that? Well, that's Control-Z, right? If I want to redo that, it's Control-Y, okay? The next one, and I've actually been using this one already, is Control-A. Control-A will select all, and what it'll do in OneNote and some other programs is it'll only select a line, and then if you press it again, it selects the entire text. If I want to cut this text, I can press Control-X. If I want to paste it, press Control-V. Okay, pretty straightforward. It takes some practice if you're not used to this, but the reason why you want to use keyboard shortcuts, and I'm going to show you a lot of keyboard shortcuts over the course of this series, is that it's way faster than a mouse. A mouse is useful and it's helpful a lot of times, but once you get used to using keyboard shortcuts, you won't go back. They're so much faster than using a mouse for a lot of these things. Okay, the next one is save. This is OneNote. It doesn't really matter, but if you do Control S in most programs, it'll save the file that you have. Control F, you guys grew up with the internet. You probably know this one. It helps you find something on the page. So if I want to find copy, I can press Control F and then do that there. So I'm going to actually click back over here. So then some quick formatting things. So if I want to bold something, I can highlight it. Control A. Control B is bold. Control I is italic. Control U is underline. So if you want to do quick formatting, you can do that. Now, Tab and Shift Tab, they basically do the same thing in a lot of different circumstances. It's moving forward and going backwards. So when I have a list here of bullet points, if I want to shift the bullet points out, I press Tab. And then if I want to add another, I used end there to get to the end of the line, so that's another one. If I want to get below here and then just keep typing here, I can do a word, another word, and then if I want to go back, I do Shift Tab. So Shift Tab moves me back. Okay, so that's and then that's shift highlighting right there. So if you hold Shift and you're using your arrow keys, that's highlighting all your text. I kind of realize that there's a lot more even than I have here as I'm going through. The next one is going to be the Windows equation editor. So when you're in OneNote, in Word, PowerPoint, if you want to add an equation to something, so this is something that we're going to do a lot because we're working in OneNote, and some of you guys like to type things as opposed to like handwriting it and taking a picture. I'll show you a faster way to do that as well in a later video. But what if we want to add an equation here? What we do is we press Alt and the plus and equal key, the one that's directly to the left of backspace. And now it says type an equation here. There's a lot of hotkeys, or not hotkeys, but syntax that you can learn in here. So for instance, if I wanted to write Newton's second law, I want to put a sum, so we do a backslash sum, I'm out of my equation, sum, why is that not working? We're just going to do a capital sigma. So you can do Greek like this, so I can do alpha, beta, gamma. I'm a little confused why sum doesn't work. It might have to be lowercase. Okay, yeah, that does have to be lowercase. So I want to write Newton's second law. Sum of forces is equal to mass times acceleration. We'll talk about that later, but I need some vector signs here. So I'm going to do F, backslash, vec, space, space, puts a vector sign on it, equals M, A, vec, okay? And then you can add whatever equations you want here. So let's say if I want an integral. So I can do int, actually I want to do this on the same line so I maintain my the size of my text. So if I want to do an integral, let's do the work energy theorem. So we're going to say the work is going to be equal to the integral of f vac. I don't know this one offhand. Let's hope that's right. It's going to be a c dot d r vac. Okay, and then you have the work energy theorem. So it's faster than if I was to handwrite it and then try to copy and paste it in here. It's a very, very useful tool. So try to practice with all of these. I know I'm going through very quickly some of these, but what you'll find, and this is true with the workflow, it's true with the physics. If you rely on a tool that will get the job done, it will kind of blind you to stronger and better tools that that you can do things more quickly with ultimately, even if it takes a little while to learn these things. Something that I kind of like to do for fun when I'm trying to learn hotkeys is I take my mouse and I put it all the way over here. And I say, I'm going to edit this document without using a mouse at all. And it takes time. You're going to feel silly like trying to do things. It's like, I have no idea how to do this. And you're going to have to start playing around with different combinations of hotkeys until you find what it is that you need to do. But ultimately, once you do learn how to do that, you're going to be way faster than you would be if you're only using a mouse. Okay, the last thing I want to do in this video is talk about window management. So I have my OneNote here. I actually used some window management to switch over to OneNote from PowerPoint before. And so the very bare minimum of this is Alt-Tab plus arrow keys and the window and arrow key. So let's play around with the window and arrow first. So if I do window and arrow, I can move where this is around. So like normally what you might do is you say, okay, well, let me get that back with an Alt-Tab. Normally what I might do is take my mouse, click it, drag it, right? And that works, but there are faster ways to do it, right? So so if I want to, let's say I have my OBS over here. Let's move. Oops. Let's move this one. Let's move this one over to my screen over here. And so I'm actually. Let me move my OBS over to this screen because you can't see the Alt-Tab because what I'm capping right now is not my primary display. So this one I do need to use a mouse because I don't know how to do this. So I'm going to switch over to my my computer monitor. Don't worry about the tunnel to infinity that you see here. This is just what happens when you have OBS open on its own screen. Okay, so when you press Alt-Tab, it allows you to cycle through all of your windows, and you can go down to your desktop too if you want. I only have 3 windows open right now, but I might have as many as a dozen open, and sometimes they're hard to find. So if you just hold Alt, you press Tab, then you can start cycling through these. And if you press Tab again, it will move forward. Remember, Tab moves you forward, Shift Tab moves you backwards. Okay, so you don't even really need to use the arrow keys. But that's just the very basics of a little bit of workflow optimization. I'm going to make one more video tonight. Like I said, that video is going to be over taming your web browser to play more nicely with Blackboard and WebAssign, using the clipboard and some hotkeys that you can use in your web browser to kind of do these kinds of things, adding tabs, moving over to tabs, things like that. Okay, so that's going to be it for this one. I will see you guys in the next one.